Murder. There's been a murder. Nothing says happy holidays like it's time to solve a murder, right? Hello everyone, welcome back to Solo Mode. My name is Jamie from Foster the Meeple, and I'm here again today to do another solo playthrough. And today's playthrough is going to be on Awkward Guess from Megacorpin Games and designed by Ron Gonzalo Garcia. Now, I don't know about you, but there's nothing that says the holidays more than a few awkward guests. Now, this is a murder mystery style game. It has been lovingly coined like Gamer's Clue, although if you play Clue, you are a gamer, my friend. So here, let me just set the story, okay? There's been a murder, okay? This guy right here, Mr. Walton, has been murdered in his own home by a friend, which is never great, you know, that's not nice. So we are trying to figure out who killed Mr. Walton. Okay, so this is the Walton's case. Now, like I mentioned, obviously I'm playing this solo, so I'm going to go over with you how the game works, and then we're going to dive into the playthrough. So without further ado, I say we get into it. Okay, my friends, like I said, this is a murder mystery game, and in the solo version, it is app-driven. In a multiplayer version, you can also play with the app, which I do recommend because it allows you a bit more playtime. If you make a guess at who done it, basically, you can continue to play, but if you're not playing on the app version, then you can't. This game has a butt ton, like so many different combinations, and so every game that you play is going to be different. On the app, I'm going to tell it, hey, I'm playing solo and I want a new game that I've never done. It's going to give me all of that. So like I mentioned, Mr. Walton has been murdered in his own home. So this is kind of like the whiteboard screen that you would typically have if you're playing a multiplayer game, which just kind of shows the layout and some rules, so I thought you guys might like to see that. This is kind of my notepad where I'm going to be taking all of my notes as I discover information from cards. We have 6 suspects that have possibly done the murder. We got Stanley, Mortimer, Greg, Claudette. We have Beatrice and Bernice, their sisters, and we have Angelica. Or Angelica. So one of them has done the murder, and depending on which difficulty level, they may have also had an accomplice. There are a variety of different difficulty levels that you can do. We'll probably go somewhere in the middle. And then you can choose whether or not there will possibly be an accomplice, but just because there could possibly be one doesn't mean there is one. Now, Mr. Walton has been murdered in his study. The scene of the crime, there he is, looking dead. Now, how this is going to work, first of all, we are trying to figure out who did it. Then we are trying to figure out why. What was their motivation? Each of the characters has 3 different motivations that could possibly be their why. As an example, Claudette, one of hers is exposed fraud. So that could be why she has committed the murder. Then we're also looking at how, and this is going to be the actual murder weapon. So we have a bunch of different possible weapons, all of which are corresponding to a different room in the house. You'll also notice there's a bunch of arrows on the map, and that's the pathway that the killer is taking in order to get to the scene of the crime to do the murder. Okay, so we would know basically that of all of these weapons have been ruled out, and we know for sure one of the suspects was kind of like, well, basically we know that if they haven't moved through the shed, they haven't picked up any of those weapons. So there's a little bit of rhyme and reason to how people are moving and the weapons that they could possibly get. Now, throughout the game, and I should mention, there is also possibly an accomplice. So if there's an accomplice, we have to figure out who and why, their motivation as well. So throughout the game, how we're getting information, the app is going to be telling us which cards to pull from the box, and those cards are going to give us different information. Now, some information is coming from the suspects. Information that comes from the suspects is suspect. We don't know if they're lying to us or telling the truth, but they're unreliable, essentially. If we get any information from the police or from any of the help that work at the house, the service staff, we know that information is true. They are not suspects. They are telling us the truth. They're going to be telling us things like, you know, nobody was in the library at the time of the killing. Nobody moved between the garage and the trophy room. Definitely no poisons were used. Like, they're going to be telling us this kind of information. The suspects are going to be telling us things like, well, I think that Mortimer wanted to do this because what's one of his things? Because he had a pirated idea. Who knows? So they're just going to be giving us information, all of which we are going to be keeping track of here on our sheet until eventually we can make a guess at who we think did the murder. The app is going to direct us through all of that, which is great, but that's essentially it. We are just trying to find out who done it, and we are trying to do that with a limited amount of cards in a solo game, and maybe this is a good time to turn on the app to show you what I mean. Okay, so this is the app. So let's just get started, and I'll keep explaining kind of as we go. Look at him. He's like, please, I've been murdered. Help me. You got it. Here on this side, we can load a case solitary. That's if you've started a case before and you want to keep going, but we're going to go random case solitary. Now we're going to choose our difficulty. Okay, so we have beginner, very easy, easy, medium, hard, very hard, and the perfect crime. So let's go to medium. And then you click generate a never played case. Continue. All right, let's read it together. Solve the case before you run out of points. In each round, choose 2 different references and spend the points you want to obtain cards. Choose well to avoid getting duplicate cards. Let's begin the first round of investigations. Understood. Now, what that means is all of the cards have different point values on them. There's 1s, there's 2s, and there's 3s, and that is what we are going to be spending. In a medium game, we don't want to go over 90 points before we solve the case. This is different in a multiplayer game. You don't have that point limit to solve the case, but this is just how the solo game works. All right. So it is telling us to get cards number 49, 113, 116, 148, 174, and 242. So hang on a tick. I'm going to fish those out of the box. All right, I have collected all of our cards. So now we can kind of look at these and you'll see this is the amount of points they cost. And they're all giving us different information. And I do want to mention in a medium game, an accomplice is a possibility. So we're going to be marking all of this onto our sheet and then we are going to press next essentially. So pencils required. Do it in pen at your own risk. So this one, after examining the body, the coroner, so we know we can trust the coroner did not find signs of attack from behind. So this is showing us this symbol. So let's go through that. We know the blunderbuss was not used, and that is in the living room. So I'll just scratch it off, okay? We know the letter opener in the bedroom was not used. The machete from the trophy room was not used. And the leather strap from the garage was not used, okay? Then Stanley Smith, who is one of our suspects, where are you? Stanley Smith claims that he was with Angelica at the time of the murder. So there's no specific spot on how to mark this. So what I do, he's claiming, I hope you guys are ready for some chaotic notes. Claims, I'm just putting claims. That way I know Stanley Smith claims he was with Angelica, okay? Most of these are going to tell you exactly where on the sheet you need to mark them off, but some of them don't. It's specifically kind of like these ones. So anyways, the Derringer gun was not the murder weapon, okay? So that's here in the trophy room. So we're getting a lot of information off the hop. So that one was not used. Service staff, very reliable. The service staff reports that Claudette and Stanley did not pass through the bedroom. Okay, so here's the bedroom. So Stanley, who is S, and Claudette, who is C, did not pass through the bedroom. So we know that they were not in the bedroom. Do this one. The Berwick sisters claimed that they were with Stanley. Oh boy. Everybody's making all these claims. There's definitely a better way to make these notes. It's going to happen a lot. Pretty heavy-handed. So they're claims that they were with Stanley. BB with S. Got it. And then our last card, Stanley Smith claims he was in the library. So I'm going to write an S, but I'm going to put a star next to it because that is just how I know that he's just saying this stuff, you know? Like, what is he even saying? Nobody knows. So that is our starting hand and the starting information. Now we are going to choose different areas and different people or different things to ask about. So we always get to ask about 2 things. Now in a multiplayer game, so on the back of the rule book, there is kind of a layout of all of the people and the map, and then you would choose 2 things. So I'll do that just for visual purposes, but we're going to choose it all in the app. So here's the thing. We can choose any of the rooms with the exception of the bathroom. I don't know why it's even there, but it is. And you can choose any of the people. So one place that I typically enjoy asking about is the study, because the study is the scene of the crime. And it's usually going to give us some decent information, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive. I am also curious about Stanley, because Stanley has been mentioned multiple times. So we have Stanley. So we are going to go to Stanley. So I'm asking about Stanley and the scene of the crime, and then I'm just going to pick next. Now it's going to give us different options of how we can spend our points. So we can get 3 cards worth 3 points total, which means they're each 1-point cards, which is a little bit less good information. 3 cards worth 4 points, 2 worth 6, or 1 random card worth 1. I am pretty bold when I play this. I'm going to be burning through some points, so just bear with me until I get low. I'm going to go 2 cards worth 6 points because I know that is going to be valuable information. All right, so let's get rid of all of these. I'm just going to put all of the cards that I've already used over in this pile. So we're getting 163 and 197. So these are 2 3-point cards, which, like I said, a 3-point card is going to give us good information. Okay? So we have more coroner exams, which is great. After examining the body, the coroner did not find traces of dark powder. So dark powder are these dots, and there is a little legend down here and up here. So here's what we now know. The frying pan in the kitchen, not the murder weapon. The cue in the billiard room, not the murder weapon. Okay, blunderbuss we already knew. Rat poison in the kitchen, not the murder weapon. So that's it. Put that over there. And he's also saying he did not find any oily substance. All right. So oily substance is this squiggle. So we already knew about the frying pan. Antifreeze in the garage, not the murder weapon. And the poisonous plant in the bedroom, not the murder weapon. Okay. I think that's it. Very good. See, I could be like, solve, but I'm not gonna. So I will mention, yes, in the multiplayer game, there are certain checkpoints where you can solve, but in a solo game, you can solve at any time so long as you have points remaining. All right, so we've learned a lot about murder weapons. They didn't give me any information about Stanley, though. So I think I'm going to ask about Angelica, because he says he was with her. And I'm also going to ask maybe about the shed. We'll just see. 3 cards worth 6, 2 cards worth 4, 2 cards worth 2, or 1 random card worth 1. I think I'll go 2 cards worth 4. So 84 and 187. we have a 3 and a 1. All right, now look at this. Angelica claims she was with Stanley. So they're both saying, hey, we were together. But that doesn't mean that either of them are the murderer. They could have just been in that room together. And Stanley claims he was in the library. So if we find Angelica in the library, but now what we really want is the service staff to tell us, like, that there was only one person in here, because then we would know, it would just give us more information. You know what I mean? Okay, then we have the police report shows that among the possible motives, none were the type of passion. So we know, that's this heart here, extreme principles was not, fatal rejection from Claudette was not, broken dreams from Mortimer was not. So none of those were the motive. It's good to know. I'm still suspicious of Stanley and Angelica now because I think they're working together. All right, so I didn't get any information on the shed, did I? So, well, I'm just going to keep asking about random stuff for now because I don't really know much. I'm going to look at the garage and let's ask about the Berwick sisters because they were also talking about Stanley. 3 cards worth 4, 2 cards worth 3, 2 worth 2, or 1 worth 1. 2 cards worth 3 or 3 worth 4. I'm going to go with 3 cards worth 4 points. So 36, 63. Now, I might be playing a little bit cocky because I did win the last 3 solo games of this I've played, and the last one was on medium. So but it's fine. I've also been in a game of this on BGA with Jeff and Mike from Brothers Murph, shout out, for like a solid month, and none of us have figured it out. Okay, so I'm looking for 36. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Let's actually start with this one. Now, the Berwick sisters assert that Angelica might have been involved in the murder motivated by poison chalice. So I'm going to put a little mark in here because we heard this from the Berwick sisters that they've heard about this poisoned chalice. Now, the Berwick sisters claim that they were in the library at the time of the murder. That's where Stanley is. See, now, the Berwick sisters said they were with Stanley. They could be telling the truth. But Stanley said he was with Angelica, and Angelica said that she was with Stanley. So what is the truth? I don't know. All right. The service staff reports that the Berwick sisters and Claudette did not pass through the trophy room. So BB and C did not pass through there. Okie dokie. 76 points remaining. I think I need to ask about the library. And I think I'm going to ask about Stanley again because I still just don't know. I don't know anything about some of these people, but I'm on to Stanley. 2 cards worth 2, 3 worth 4. I'm going to do 3 cards worth 4 points. Thanks. Okay, so 26. They're always at like the bottom. Oh my. Okay, let's see. All right, let's start with this one. Claudette claims that she was in the library at the time of the murder. What is going on here? Were they all in the library? I've never had so many people say they're in one place. All right, the service staff caught Stanley Smith conspiring against Mr. Walton with another guest. I knew it. Conspiring. So I'm just going to put conspiring with guest. My suspicions are pointing me towards Stanley and the Berwick sisters. Because they were both in here. I would really love to know if more people were in the library. Because they're all claiming they were there having a party in the library, which is where you're supposed to be quiet. The service staff reports that Stanley Smith and Mortimer did not pass through the garage. So Stanley and Mortimer, not in the garage. Got it. So I still, like, I need more information. I gotta ask about the crime scene again, I think. So let's go for the study. And maybe I might ask about the Berwick sisters again. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on with all these people. Or should I ask about Angelica? Let's do this. Okay. Ooh, 3 cards worth 5 points. Or 2 cards worth 4. I'm going to go 3 worth 5. I just feel like I do better with like more information. But maybe not. Like, honestly, who knows? 54, 80, and 86. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, my pencil. Okay, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Claudette claims that she was with the Berwick sisters at the time of the murder. So, this makes sense, which means Stanley might be lying about being in the library. So, Claudette is saying she was with the Berwick sisters, but the Berwick sisters are saying they were with Stanley. Why is everybody such a liar? Oh my God. Okay. Whoops. After examining the body, the coroner determined that a bladed weapon was not used. So we can get rid of all bladed weapons, which will include the kitchen knife. So the murderer did not go through the kitchen. We know that because all of these are out. And the saber, which is in the vestibule, so same deal. So no bladed weapon was used. And the police report states that the Berwick sisters' motive, social undermining, was not the crime motive. Oh my God, I don't really know anything, you guys. Okay, here's what I know. Claudette says she was with the Berwick sisters. They're both in the library, but the Berwick sisters said they were with Stanley. And Stanley was caught conspiring, but that doesn't mean he was the killer. I don't know anything about weapons except they didn't go through the kitchen. I might ask. So if they were in here, I should ask about the shed again. Let's ask about the shed. Okay, I'm going to ask about the shed and maybe about the bedroom. Let's ask about the bedroom. Okay. I don't know. 2 worth 2, 3 worth 3, 1 worth 1, or 1 random worth 1. I'm going to go 3 worth 3. It's 3 1-point cards, but it's still not that bad. 147, 162. Okay, so 147 is going to be in. Imagine like real crimes were like this. That would be crazy. All right, so we have 3 oneers. Now, the revolver was not the murder weapon. That's in the bedroom. So the only one left in the bedroom is the pillow. And Stanley didn't go through there. So maybe I shouldn't have asked about that. The service staff reports that none of the guests entered the kitchen from the shed. Okay, so nobody went through here. And the service staff reports that none of the guests entered the kitchen from the bedroom. Okay, well that makes sense because we know none of the kitchen weapons were used. So this path is blocked, this path is blocked. But anybody from the library could still go through the shed or through the living room, to the vestibule, to the, like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of like pathways. You know what? We haven't asked anything about Greg. So like, what's he doing? And do we care? I don't know. I'm going to ask about Angelica and Greg. I just want to see. Still have 64 points. 2 cards worth 6 points. 3 worth 7. 3 worth 6. I'm going to go 2 cards worth 6 points. Okay, we're going to get rid of those arrows because I can't keep track of all of this. I'm trying to solve a murder here. 239 and 241. I knew there were going to be 2 3-pointers. Okay, let's see. It's the police. The police report shows that among the possible motives, none were the type of payback. And payback is this symbol. So no. Is there only those? Oh, no. And none were the type of blackmail, which is the little briefcase. Okay, so Claudette is out. That's helpful, okay? So we know Claudette hasn't done anything wrong in her life. She's a good girl. So Claudette said, though, now this is actually very helpful. Claudette said that she was with the Berwick sisters. And if she didn't do it, she has no reason to lie to us. And then they claimed that they were here. So Claudette and the Berwick sisters were probably in the library. And then if that's true, then they are probably telling the truth about the library. And then Stanley is saying he was with Angelica. Okay. I want to know about... I'd like to know about the shed. Because I think the shed is looking suspicious. And I want to know about the library. Because I just want somebody to tell me how many people were in the library. Okay. 3 worth 3. 3 worth 4. 2 worth 3. I'm going to go 3 cards worth 4. So 95. See, the thing when you play a multiplayer game of this is people will start giving you back the same information that you already had, which is really annoying. But you're not doing that in a solo game, which is lovely. Let's see what we got here. Let us see what we've got. Okay, so let's start with this. The rope was not the murder weapon. And that was in the shed. Okay, that's good. The housekeeper reports that there were more than 3 people in the library. So more than 3. So I think Angelica, I'm just going to put an A question mark, but I think she was also in the library because Stanley said she was. Now, he could be lying. But there was a party in the library. We know that. Service staff reports that none of the guests entered the living room from the library. Okay. Now, it could still be this curtain cord. Curtain cord. I don't know why I said it like that. Okay. I think... I want to know about Angelica. Because she's suspicious. And I'm going to ask about Stanley again. Because I do, he's suspicious. I think it's these two. It's these two. I just don't know who committed the crime. My gut is saying Angelica committed the crime and Stanley was an accomplice, but we just don't know. I have 54 points left. 2 cards worth 5, 3 cards worth 5, 2 cards worth 4. Let's go 3 worth 5. Shall we? I'm on the hunt here. I'm on the case. You can't fool me. All right, I need 109. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got some info. Either Angelica or Greg might have passed through the shed. Yeah, I bet they did. So, or Greg, question mark, might have passed through the shed. And it was definitely Angelica. But we don't know what the weapon was or the motive yet. The police report shows that among the possible motives, none were vengeance, which is the big V. We already know she's innocent. He's not innocent. I think he's the accomplice. And if he's the accomplice, then that would mean that this is his thing, you know? But we don't know. The police report states that Angelica's motive, sinister plans, was not. Okay, so then that would mean it would have to be this. And it would have to be this. But we just don't know which one is the murderer and what the weapon was. Okay, so I'm going to ask about the crime scene again. And I will ask about the shed. Let's just see. 3 cards worth 9. I don't care. Let's go. 24. Because these are going to be good cards, I think. So 24. You can't be afraid to spend your points, you know. Gotta take a little risk. I need 118. Solving crimes. Very exciting stuff happening. Okay. Ooh, these are all very good. Okay. The coroner did not find defensive wounds, so that's the little shield. So we already knew that. We already knew that. We already knew that. Okay. So we know it wasn't the curtain rod. Okay? Which means it was either the shovel or, because they were in the library, they went through the shed here. So it was either the shovel or pesticide. After examining the body, the coroner determined that firearm was not used. Okay, so no firearms. I'm just going to go through the shotgun in the trophy room. And then this one says, so this is going to rule out the shovel, I think. The coroner determined that a blunt weapon was not used. So the wrench in the garage wasn't used and the shovel in the shed wasn't used, meaning it was the pesticide. Okay, I'm just going to write this out because I think pesticide, I still don't know which one is which, but I do think it was Angelica. With the poisoned chalice, I do think she had an accomplice, and I think it was Stanley. And I think it was a macabre bet. I think we're going to try to solve it, because there's no reason not to, because we can always continue. So let's solve. All right, who killed Mr. Walton? Angelica. And why? Poison chalice is already there. How? Pesticide? Is that what it is? Pesticide. And if we're wrong, then I don't know where we went wrong. Okay. Was there an accomplice? I'm going to say yes. Who? It was freaking Stanley. Okay. And then his motive was the macabre bet. Investigator, let's check your solution. You think the murderer was Angelica with the pesticide motivated by poison chalice. Stanley Smith was the accomplice motivated by a macabre bet. Is that right? Correct. We did it! We solved it! So I solved it on round 11 with 40 points remaining. 40 of 90. That is a great job. I wonder if there's anything that says, like, there probably isn't. I like, you know how I like to get a title? No title. That's it. We did it. So we have murderer, accomplice, dead guy, bleh. And then it was pesticide from the shed. So that's the way to do it. All right, my friends, that is Awkward Guess Solo. So just a few things about Awkward Guess. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I love it multiplayer. I love it solo. You could play it on Board Game Arena now. But I just think solo is such a good little puzzle. This one is considered a medium level case. Like I mentioned before, you have beginner, very easy, easy, medium, hard, very hard, and the perfect crime. The hardest I've ever done is medium. So next time I play, I'm definitely going to go up to hard, and I would love to try one that is perfect crime because that just sounds impossible. But this game is super fun. As you can see, we played through it pretty quickly if you've got your deduction hat on, and every case generated is completely different. So the combinations are different. There's also another one that came out. There's Awkward Guess 2, which is specifically designed as a 2-player game. You can play this one 2-player. Obviously, you can play it solo, but I would recommend if you're looking to play this multiplayer to play it with like at least 4+ people. It plays up to 8 people. Great party game. And if you're going to play, I highly recommend the app. So basically, like, if you get it wrong during a multiplayer game anyway, you won't be able to guess. For the next guessing round, you'll have to wait another round. So somebody could get it before you. Anyways, I just think it's fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. If you're interested in learning more about Awkward Guess, I will put the Board Game Geek page in the description below so you can go and check it out. But that's everything that I have for you all today. I hope you all had an amazing holiday and a happy new year. I will see you again in 2026, which is very exciting. But thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe to Board Game Geek, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! Bye!